And hello again, Anja is back. And this time, or today, I'm gonna talk about Naudhiz. Naudhiz is in the second Ayatir that we are working on now. Last week we had Hagalas, and today it is Naudhiz. So the second Ayatir is really about, I mentioned it before, it's Odin's Ayatir, and it's also the Ayatir of the magician. So a lot of hard work, I could say. I'm gonna try to explain this rune as good as I can so no one gets scared, because it's a really tough one. Lots of hard work, lots of confrontation. I'm getting into that right now. But you could say, or you could compare it so you're not getting freaked out. You could compare it with the Ten of Swords or the Hanged Man or the Tower, kinda, I would say, just from my intuition. So it's the 10th rune in the Fudak. In numerology, you can see it as a number 5. Its element is the fire, like a lot of fire. Its deity, it's Skuld. It's one of the Norns. And it's Vilbia that works with it. It's the Lynx. So now this is a fate rune. It's about distract, constriction, the turn of distress. What else? Resistance. Like everything that causes human worries. It's also the rune of the Norns. It symbolizes the power of the 3 Norns, mostly of one, but they're all connected, and I'm explaining later on why. So the 3 Norns are the daughters of Vala. So there we have Urd, she's for the past, Verdandi, the one for the present, and Skuld, the future. They are the ones weaving our destiny and spinning our thread of life. You might have seen pictures about them. So, but I will get into the Norns a bit later and how they are connected with this rune, so it will make sense. The main message that Naudhiz will give us is that everything is exactly as it should be. Accept your past, live your presence, and do not fear your future. So let me explain a bit about it. So this rune becomes active when we are faced with important decisions. So if you pulled this rune, this is what she's telling you, literally. The rune means like distress. So, but those in need, they can make a turnaround, they can change it. So this could be a great force that arises through resistance, like hard work, and hard work will finally bring relief from suffering through, let's say, for example, financial restrictions, or it will help you to take on responsibility, overcome obstacles and hard times. Let's say if you pulled it reversed and you think you all have it. Let's just pretend, right? And again, I'm just setting examples. If you are not in need, the rune will lead you to it. So what it means is that if you need to have a turnaround but don't see it yourself, you know what I mean? Maybe because you're too comfortable, but it is not good for you or stops you from developing, this rune will lead you there if you want to or not. So this could happen due to destructive necessities, restriction through hardship, and again, it will lead you to hard work. So let's say, I wanted to give an example. What could I use for an example? Let me think a second. I just want to explain it right. So, let's say you're wealthy, right? You're wealthy. You have all the dough you need. But you have a totally different purpose. And you're not going there because you're too comfortable with your money. You're too comfortable spending it in bars, spending it on clothes. That's all you do, all day. So this rune will push you to a point where you might lose some of it. And yeah, kind of to wake you up. Like, hey, enough of that. Move on. Or I could use myself as an example. Not that I was ever rich. I wish. Well, kinda. Like, I was in an abusive relationship. And let me put it in a different. I thought I had the dream relationship. And I was comfortable, and I gave up all my spirituality, like literally. I stopped everything to make this other person happy, not realizing I was giving up myself totally. And it turned into an abusive relationship, and a lot of stuff happened again and again and again. It literally whacked me on the hand. It like I was running against the wall, bam, 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 until I finally, took the strength and took myself out of it. So, and from then, things got in the flow. I went back on my spiritual path. I did my witchcraft stuff. I did my herbal stuff. Everything came back to me. So it's like we put ourselves in those situations. And no one else can help us but ourselves. And that's another thing we need to learn, to take on responsibility for our action. So there is no need, or it makes no sense to feel pity and sorry. Like we bring on a lot to ourselves. So, but again, that was just an example. I'm not looking for pity or sorry that happened to you. That was just an example. So it will lead you through hardships, and it will push you there until you finally realize it. So, but there's no need to, don't despair. The power that arises in a burning need brings out the deepest valleys of misery. So, and that's how I can explain it. The deeper your misery is, or let me put it in a way of that saying, one has to fall deep to get up, has to be all the way on the bottom to get up again. So, and for this, the rune, Naudhiz will provide you a solution for situations that seem hopeless for you. And mostly in an unexpected way, like you will not expect it. Naudhiz is like the rune of the emergency turn, and she wants you to let go of an illusion and let your own light become the life force. or the compulsion and severity that often accompanies Naudhiz wants to bring your shadows to mind and invite you to approach them openly. So this is the shadow work that we like to do, how we call it. So, and as a result, the shadow, and that's, I'm talking of the shadow that blocks us, that loses weight and can be changed. It can be changed by acceptance. So, we really have to do some soul searching here and really, like, let's say if you're greedy, you're just out for money, but you miss out the rest. If you neglect yourself even, you will, and you think, oh, I'm being punished as it is. Why is it getting worse? This is just for you to get up, to finally get out of that, because you're not supposed to be there. I hope this makes sense. So, and also we know that not all, that every negative experience that you have is a hidden lesson, and you grow and mature with it. Even though in the moment when we are in these situations where we can't get up, we're like, why, and this and that, you will get out with the help of Naudhiz, and you will grow. I can say for myself, I grew and I learned and I matured, and this certain things in my life will never happen to me again, because I will not let it, and also I will not do certain things that I did in my life. You know where I'm going? So if it's standing on its head, like reverse, then it wants you to deal with your higher self. So, and many important experiences happen, like if we practice the path of grief and suffering. And I can say that because I've done it in many situations in my life that I will not talk about because they don't belong here. I'm just saying that because I get to hear sometimes, why is that, and how can you say that? You haven't experienced this, you haven't experienced that, so it's easy for you to talk about. Just trust me when I say I've been through shit that no one wants to. And back then I was ready to give up on the world, but today I'm glad it happened to me, because it made me what I am today. So if you remember Thurisaz or Thurisaz, I tried to pronounce it in English, but I really can't. So similar to Thurisaz, if you remember the thorn rune, conflicts only become solvable when confronted with them. And, so in the concept of Naudhiz, however, this confrontation is enforced by circumstances. So in situations that happen in our lives. So once cornered, if you feel cornered, pushed in a corner, I think it's a word for it, cornered. Like unfolded forces unfold. And then, and the motivation will, escape out of this situation. So the staff of the rune, if you look at them, shows the ignition of the fire, the sign. Like when you have to fire rocks or you have the stick, that's what it's symbolizing. So it's like a fire drill. So and these were needed to survive or ignite emergency fires, right? So Naudhiz is a two-sided concept. It stands for the concept of misery, as I said, and also for the salvation of this misery. The rune stands for the self-generated fire, the burning distress created by friction and resistance to the fulfillment of human duties of both, like I said, material and the spiritual, because it goes hand in hand. So therefore now this represents the action that we need to guide with the will. So, and combined with the knowledge and wisdom that can act as a counterforce to the negative force. So, which means like action, reaction, right? So then we have the magical powers of a rune. Like if not like what I just talked about is when you draw the rune, and this is if you want to work with a rune. You can, if you want to do whatever, like I always explain it. If you want to deal with certain situation, you can just take the rune, visualize it, paint it somewhere, and work with it in a magical way, energy-wise. So that's magic for me, the energy, right? So with Naudhiz, you can fend off like counterattacks, and especially in the spiritual field. So, and this will weaken the opposite side. And it also develops willpower for us, right? That we strengthen the willpower when we use it. So, especially when we experience like hate, like if we feel the hate of someone, so this can prevent it. And now this can also develop the need for friendship, for peace and order. Also, what this rune is used for, and this might sound very strange to you, but it also helps with love magic. If you're in search for love, for a partner, this rune can be used for as well. As weird as it sounds, but again, I mean, if you have a point where you really, really search, there's something missing in your life. I always say you need to be happy. You need to be able to be happy by yourself. So, but if you really, really wish for a partner, this rune can help you to do so. But I'm not going too much into it because I'm not for love magic at all. Manifesting a partner, yes. But in terms of that you don't know the person, that you make a wish, that you send the wish out for the partner that suits you the best, that is made for you. And you also have to be very careful. You really have to include everything you wish about a partner. Do not miss anything. Trust me, been there, done that in the past. And when I was playing around, and that's why I feel like I can say don't do it, because I did that. And again, everything that I always talk about, I had my experience with. So, and then on the other hand, like and this goes for manifesting as well. I don't think we should manifest certain people, because you don't know if they're made for you, if they're made for someone else, and you might just influence them. And that's, and yep, been there, done that too. That's why I'm saying that. And I'm not doing that again, ever. So, but that's enough of that. So also what is interesting, there is an historical interpretation that sees the rune as the knot that is needed to make a net, like the middle. If you see the little where the fire ignites, on this cross, but this is on a historical interpretation, and this goes then to the net of the Norns, which is woven out of this knot. That's what it said. So the principle of the rune is to take your destiny into your own hands, and in order to free yourself from the misery, you need to push through it. You have to work to push through the misery, and we all experience that right now. I find like you really have to push through it. Other than that, you will get stuck, and you will get confronted with it until you're out of it. So, and here's also, I find a clear contrast to Christianity. Like, let's say in paganism and the North belief, like I just said, you have to push through it to free yourself from misery. You take on responsibility. But in Christianity, it's like the fatalistic devotion to fate, and this must lead to resignation, And again, just saying, I am not talking about people believing in God and going their path and it makes them feel good. When I talk about things like that, I'm talking about the brainwashing institution. Just to make that clear, please. And of course, everyone that goes overboard and supports what they do, to be honest. Which I had to find out yesterday when I was talking about ancient cultures, that they got wiped out. I had to listen to they got wiped out because they didn't follow the path of God. So that I do not sign at all. Again, let's go back to the rune. I'm getting carried away. So you can say if Hagalaz is the threatening wooden spoon, when back in our childhood some of us got threatened with a wooden spoon, like, come on here, So then you can say now this is like the empty pot. So it's a friendly reminder that not everything is as it should be. So life is out of step and nothing is as it should be. So no matter how much you have, it never seems to be enough. And on the other hand, the dissatisfaction with the current state you're in, that can also lead to new beginnings and initiate the first step towards a change. So now this stands for the imbalance between one's own desire and the actual condition. So you're on that side, this is what I want, there is Naudhiz, this is how I can explain this. Let's say you're on the left side, Naudhiz is in the middle, and behind it there is your goal. So just see Naudhiz as a football player that you have to tackle down. That's the best example I can come up with. So tackle it down, take it on, and tackle her down. So what else could I say? And just remember, just if you know that you have to do the hard work and you don't have the strength yet, only just realizing this. This counts totally as enlightenment, right? And then you can take it on step by step. So it makes you analyze your situation more closely, and then you start dealing with certain situation. So now this can bring you back to your spiritual path when you get off a bit, and we all do that. I mean, we all been at the point, is this real? Maybe this is all just big bullshit, and maybe that's just me being insane, or I don't want to do that anymore. I've been there many times where it's like, F this, I'm done with energy work, I'm done with witchcraft, I'm done with that. This is all bullshit. I don't have the strength anymore. And I think most of the shamans and energy workers and whatever will understand what I mean by that. So, and it will help, because sometimes it gets all overwhelming, right? And especially if you don't ground yourself, if you do it too much. And what I mean by that is if you're constantly up, like if I do energy work, I travel to the other realm, not astral projecting, energy wise. So, but when you're constantly out, constantly there, you lose grip, you lose the grounding, and you just don't want to go back. You want to just stay out there. And when you, and then, of course, you have to do your daily tasks again. And then you're like not grounded anymore. You're not really with you anymore. And this can get you off your path. And that's why I tell everyone it's so important to keep the balance. We cannot only be up there or over there. We need to ground ourselves to earth, where we are right now, for a purpose, right? So, yeah, and now this can help you with that. So, and that's why I find those runes are in contact with this rune. So, and if you use this rune on an increasing moon, it's very good if you want to set new goals. And for the decreasing, it's a good time to let go. So that's pretty simple. And also from a health point of view, it heals all kinds of, especially like if you're caught in your depression, which comes if you're in tough situations in your life that you can't get out. If you have not the will to live anymore, which some of us experience as well, it will help you with it. It helps you to get out, because it helps you cleaning and balancing and harmonizing. So, and from the physical point, it's good for your arms, and it prevents all kind of diseases. So I know it sounds hard, like at one point it pulls you down, but on the other hand it helps you, right? So it's all about the balance, and also that we have to get up from our comfortable ass from time to time if we want to accomplish something, because you cannot just sit there and think, I think I deserve better, and don't do shit for it. I think you know where I'm going. So, and I said I'm going to talk about the Norns a bit, but really just a bit, because I could go on forever. And I don't want you to be bored too much. The North. So in the Germanic mythology, these three goddesses, they weave the destiny of mankind, right? That's it. They symbolize the Trinity. They correspond then to the symbolism of being born, of maturing and passing away, pretty much. So, or you can say the past, the present and the future. And each of them is associated with one of the life's three color, white, red and black. So, and again, white, we know, this is the pureness, so the young, right? Red, the mature, and black, of course, it's the dead, it's for grief, for sadness. And the myth said that, like in the Edda, it said, so let me read that little part here, which I like. It said that the Norns which dwell in the Urdas fountain draw water daily from the well, pouring the mud that surrounds the spring over the ash, so that its branches do not wither or rot. Sorry, now I got it. Sorry, here I go. Squirreling and not speaking English. So that its branches do not wither or rot. For crying out loud. And that's the world tree. Just saying. This water is so sacred that all things that come to that source become as white as the skin, called Skial, which sits on the eggshell inside. So again, here we have the symbolic again, right, that I just mentioned. So let me talk about Skuld. She's the one of the future, and this is what this rune is about our future, how things will pan out for us. So the Norn Skuld, she stands for the to be made. And it's pretty much in the contrast to the other Norns, Ord and Verdandi. So it is an unpredictable force, like, that has no law for man and deities. So what I'm saying with that is there is no difference between man and gods for Skuld. She treats equal. So, what I found interesting as well, that in connection with Skuld, which I said is the future, is that the term future in the Germanic grammar didn't even foresee any grammar aspect of the future. So they only knew past and present. So that's why some of the things I found about Skuld is it's not about to becoming one, but becoming one or willing one. So it's hard for me to explain because I can't explain German grammatic in English. So, but to keep it short, it's all about I will go. You know, it's not about, from a symbolic point, that didn't think about or what would happen if. All they said was it will, you know. So and she's of course the goddess of destiny, or even of death, because death lies in the future, if you want to or not. It lies in the future and it will come. and we can't change it. So, and this is what I mean with that's an example for what the Germanic meant. It will come, you know. So not maybe it will come, it will come. And that's how they saw it with everything. It will come. So, yeah. Yeah, so more precisely, it is actually the goddess of offense or dissolution, because it's a natural part of the creation and of life. So you could also say it's the outcome or the personification of Verdandi, the here and now, and Urd, the rebirth. So they all depend on each other. They can't be only one. It's a circle of life. So yeah, what it... sorry, I'm stuttering. I'm just trying to find the word. The will is at home in the present. That's how you could say it. So emotionally, and yeah, she will overcome the constraints of fate. And also her name is related to the word guilt, because fate always builds on the past and its inherent deeds, the guilt, as a logical consequence. It is not a rigid, fixed destiny, but a dynamic becoming which is constantly self-organized and results from its causes. You know what I mean by that? So your action is important. Will you act? How will you act? Your action therefore lives in the present. Your action now in the present will be the outcome in the future. This is where you go. So, and this is why it's important to do your inner work and let go of everything you no longer need. So, and if you've been avoiding it, you will get forced into doing that if you pulled the rune on a, you know, if you were drawing runes and you pulled these runes. So you really gotta do some search. I mean, it depends on each individual, right? And you might get your own messages. Please always keep that in mind. Yeah, I think so what we need to let go of the past. That's what it is. Like we can't change the past anymore. We can't. No matter how much we want to. So there is no reason to feel guilty anymore. There is, you know, no reason to carry hate for things or situations. And I know that there are situations out there where they make it really hard. I totally understand that. But hate will destroy you and not the other person. Or, you know, being jealous of people will not make you any richer, any prettier, any whatever. If you maybe understand what I mean. So, yeah, that I think was enough about Scold. And Naudhiz, I think you have a lot to digest there. And again, this is just to explain the rune. This is not a collective reading here. This is just to explain the rune. Just want to say that, so nobody freak out, please. I'm just explaining the runes. Every week, one rune. So, plus collective with runes is not working for me. Yeah, and then the tree that goes with the Rune Naudhiz, it's the beech tree. So in England and Sweden, and I talked about that about Yule, we know about the beech log, you know, the one that you put in a fire, and I talked about this in the back, in the past on Yule. And the ashes of this log, they were sprinkled on the fields on New Year. So, and it was for, you know, to giving the fields fertility. You burn the old and you put the ashes on the field, because you know the new year will come, the new harvest will come. So again, there's something that is in the future. You know for sure it will happen. You don't know how it will happen, but it will happen. So, and you put ashes on the field, and you put your intentions out there. The harvest will be good. You know where I'm going? So, and and I believe there were the decorated altars with it to protect them from lightning, but I'm not too sure about this, so I don't want to put it out there. And also beech sticks were used to form runes, right? So you could gain knowledge about them. I forgot what I wanted to say. Sorry. Yeah, and then of course there's some, you know, nice stories about it. If you find the form of a T in a beech leaf, then it's under the personal protection of Thor. So, and also if you use that leaf where you can read the T in there, it will heal damages done to humans or to animals, and will protect you from harm. So those are the little stories. I like them. So what the spirit of this tree can do for you if you work with this together with Naudhiz, yeah, it helps you with tolerating situations that you are in right now. So, and what it will help you to change not others, but to accept yourself as you are. So, if you always try to impress someone else, but you forget totally who you are, and you're not being yourself anymore. So, the spirit of this tree can help you with this. So, yeah, and as I said, also a situation that we have problems to tolerate, and if we don't tolerate them, we can't work with them, right? We can't tackle Naudhiz down, you know what I mean? So, yeah, the beech is like the mother of wisdom, you can say. So, and also the incense back then was used for wish fulfillment. But that was back then. So, and of course you can still smudge with the birch. So, and what the incense will do for you and the spirit that will rise through the smoke, it will help you change your perception of serious problems where we don't find any way out. So it will bring you clarity to your life. It helps you with dealing with the situation, to give it a clear picture, to take a look at it, not in a form from I don't want to deal with it and I don't deserve this. It will just help you clear your mind so that you can look at the situation like from the outside, take an objective point of view. So yeah, it brings you a bit order back to your life. So yeah, because if you're always like in a labyrinth of your own minds and I don't deserve this and why am I here, you get caught in that labyrinth and you can't get out. So it will help you get back out of this labyrinth, and then it will help you to achieve step by step, and it will go through with you through the processing of problems, and taking a step toward our own wisdom, so that next time we approach things with totally different thoughts and feelings. And that's why it harmonizes so well with Naudhiz. And that's what I mean with what I said before. Certain things will never happen to me because I see them differently now. I know now that I didn't deserve what happened, and that's why this will not happen to me again, clearly, because I will not let it happen. And also, I will never act the way I did before. So that's what I mean with you mature and you grow in each step, with every step. Sorry, the immigrant me. Yeah, also this tree also has, of course, medical properties. So what it does for you, it's and I'm explaining a bit later more. So it's antibacterial, it's good for fever, for stomach issues, for cough problems, if you have a cough, skin disease, rheumatism, gout, so toothache, wounds, ulcers. So and you can use different parts of the tree. So the bark, you can use the bark, the tar and the leaves, the seeds, the flowers, and the beech nuts. They're full of fat and protein, by the way, so they're very oily. So the bark is very good for coughs. So if you make a tea out of it, it helps you and also fever, of course, right? And then you can also use a tar, but do not, I repeat, copy me, do not do that yourself. I mean, it's for various skin diseases when you put it externally on. So, but the reason why I'm saying it, don't take a tree and distill the shit out of this tree, you do that with dead trees, so don't go. I'm just not a fan of it unless I would be in totally emergency, stuck in the woods for 6 weeks or something. So I'm just saying what it could be used for. So, and the tar can also help against toothache. But you should only use it homeopathically. So don't drink tar, of course, right? I don't have to say that. So if you have birch tar, only external for skin diseases, or even for gout, for rheumatism, you can put it on. So, and then you can use the ash of the beech tree, like if you burned it, right? And if you mix the ash, for example, with the St. John's wort oil, you can make a nice paste out of it. And this is a very good paste for ulcers and wounds. And you can also use the leaf. You can use the fresh leaf, rub it a little bit so the juices get out, and you can put it on ulcers. So, and very, very young birch leaves you can even eat as a salad. So, and the beech nuts, they contain an acid, hydrocyanic acid, but this can be removed if you water the nuts. So you need to water the nuts first for a few hours, and after they're dried, you can ground them, and you can even make flour out of it. So, but don't eat them like in large amounts because they contain a lot of oil. So you don't want to get off. I mean, if you ever want to get off the potty, don't. You know what I mean? So then, last but not least, I thought I'd bring in the dandelion again. That goes with this rune as well, with Naudhiz. Because I talked about the dandelion a few videos back, a lot of videos back. So for the medical properties and all, if you wouldn't mind watching the video, if you want to find out more, because I talked a lot about dandelion, what you can eat of it, what you can make with it, what you can use of it. And because it's a lot, so I don't want to bring that in here now. I just want to talk about the spiritual aspect of the spirit of this plant. So what the spirit of this plant does for you, it helps you release everything that really doesn't belong to you. Like it brightens the sacral it works good with the sacral chakra. So, because we know this is where all our anger is and our feeling. Like I find the first three chakras, the sacral, the root, and the solar plexus, they're for me personally, they're all combined. All of our emotions are in there. If they're not grounded, the rest cannot flow. If they're not cleaned, the rest cannot flow. But I'm not getting into chakras now. I did that already. But just to give a little hint again, that this beautiful little yellow plant will help you to release everything that doesn't belong there. So you can smudge it as well. You can hold it as your hand and communicate with the spirit of the plant, right? So, and in the ritual use, it's used for healing spells as well. So I love that little dandelion. And back then it was even used for fortune telling. So and again, but I talked about it already for over an hour about the dandelion, and I could do that again, but I really don't want to because I want to keep on, so keep on going. So if you want to smudge the dandelion, you can use the root. So that's a very tardy smoke, and it has a very strong cleansing effect, and I really like it. So yeah, it creates a really clear energy in your house, and it will also help you with, it will cleanse your house, bring you clear energy, and it will tell you do not give up. So, and that's what I really like. And that goes really well with Naudhiz and also the beech tree. So, yeah, I really like. And the Filja that works with this rune, that goes with this rune, is the lynx. So, and that would be the end of my little story here today. So what the lynx does, he's asking you what hidden talents are waiting to be brought to light, you know? So the lynx is kind of a loner, like by himself, not loner, like cheapo loner. He wants to call you to reflect on your powers and the true powers of your soul. He wants you to observe yourself with a lot of attention and become aware of yourself and to put off your territory. So do not let yourself get carried away by old belief systems, behaviors, or mechanisms from the past. So, but actively take your strength into your hands and show a little courage. And, yeah, kind of show your claws, you know, to those that enter your energy fields and that are not invited. So what I mean is don't let others take over, like, because only if you deal with yourself, then you can filter out the causes and your behavior and what is necessary to change it. But if you're constantly dealing with other people's problems and or people constantly nagging and pulling you down, you know, just examples. If you have constantly issues that stop you, like, is it, yeah, like I said, people dragging you down, people constantly like sucking your energy dry, robbing your time, and there is no way that you will have time. So, or sometimes we just look for it and we try to solve everybody else's problems so we don't have to deal with our own problems. You know what I mean? So, but it tells us to take a little more time for ourselves. That's what he tells us. You know, be the loner like him. Draw back a bit and take care of yourself for a while. So have a little courage, go your own way, and don't be afraid to explore everything that's available for you, for your life, and conversation with your ego and your soul. Don't be afraid. So, yeah, he tells you really it's time to deal with yourself, and that's why he works with this rune as well. That's why he is the Fulgia of this rune, right? So he wants you to look inside yourself, separate from old ways of lives and beliefs, and be open to new ways. So recognize and exploit your own creativity. And for this, we need to draw back from time to time, right? So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed it and could understand my beautiful squirrel immigration English. I apologize if I'm mispronounced some words wrong here and there. And if you have problems to understand that, just write a comment in the section below. You know what I mean. And again, don't be afraid. If you ever pull this rune, do not be afraid. You know, be like the lynx. Draw back. Take a look. What could it be? What would be good for you, what is bad for you, what is stopping you from your goal, why you're not moving forward, and so on. Just step back and listen to yourself. And that's why you need to be, draw back a bit. So don't freak out if you have that rune. I mean, I can say, and I will say that it's a lot of work. And I'm not saying that rune is a rune of flowers and rainbows. It's hard work. And I mean, the second tier is pretty much a lot of hard work. So, but we will get there one by one, rune by rune. So, yeah, if you draw that rune, don't freak. And, yeah, I mean, see it as the Tower or the Ten of Swords if you do tarot cards. I mean, it's not the same because runes are different, as I say always, that they're really powerful, and I repeat it again. But it's just a comparison, so you know about, that it's hard work and what's blocking you and stopping you. Just a comparison. Yeah, that was an hour now. I notice I'm getting 5 minutes more and more every time, so I'm trying to keep it short, but I can't. I really want to bring in all the points that I find important. So, yeah, but also again, if you meditate on a rune, or even if you pull the rune, or if you just take a rune to meditate because you want to work with it out of different reasons, always listen to your own messages. Like what I'm talking about, this is a guide. This is the main key of the runes. But again, you still have your inner voice, your higher self that you need to listen about, that you need to, it's the hour over, that you need to listen to. So no one else has the answers for you, right? Just yourself. So, and only we can correct our mistakes. Only we can correct our path. Only we are responsible for ourselves. So, and saying it's not my fault and, oh, this happened, my life is tough. Yeah. It will not help you. I mean, everybody has the right to grieve and feel sad and feel down. But really, for your own sake, you need to get out of it, right? I'm not saying to snap out of it. I mean, you need to get out of it. And if you need help to get out of it, don't hesitate to ask for help. There are always friends and family around that can help you, that can lend you an ear, that can, give you a little advice out of their experience. And that you can choose then if you want to take that advice or not. But again, this rune is about responsibility to take our life in our hands and do something for our future. Yeah. And again, I'm not the preacher. I don't want to sound like a preacher. So all I'm saying that if you want something, you have to work for it. Tackle her down. So, and if you have other issues and you need help, depression, need someone to talk, advice, it's all out there in friends and families. So, and the ones that might be listening, that don't know me, if you don't have friends and family, feel free to contact me. So, yeah, and now it's 1 hour and 5 minutes, and I'm saying goodbye now. And I will try to get back live next week. I wanted to talk about this rune in peace and quiet, and not to get interrupted or distracted. I mean, I distract myself because I can't keep track of what I was saying when I read the chat. So that is about me. I'm not complaining about my friends in the chat. Please don't get that wrong. But this was, since this is a pretty deep rune, I just wanted to get it right. So, well, thank you very much for listening. And hopefully you will be back next week. Bye-bye.